You're writing your story. He's writing the story. It's a young player. I can say that's not a one-man problem. And so for him, it's about understanding that, control what you control, continue to prepare, just knowing that he's gotten to this point by playing a lot of great ball in his career, and that didn't just go away overnight. So stay true to it.
I know this storyline is moving very quickly, but I would not feel like I'd be doing my job if I didn't bring you each and every update. So if you happen to have been living under a rock, this past Sunday, Bryce Young was officially benched, and everything just changed for him as a result of it. Fans think this is possibly the end of Bryce Young in Carolina, but I 100% disagree. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help us get to 1 million subscribers. And now that we get all that out of the way, this past month has been amazing. Everybody has been using the Caleb Williams free square to make some easy money, and this is our final week of free square September. All you need is to guess one player's stats correctly to 3x your money. To sign up for Prize Picks, click on the link in the description down below or go onto the App Store. Use my promo code Mikerophone to get $50 whenever you play a game of $5 or more. And follow me on Instagram at TheFlightMike to see my picks on a daily basis. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? At this point, you already know what the Carolina Panthers had to do in order to get Bryce Young on this roster. It was a horrific mistake, without a doubt. And it doesn't even have to do with Bryce Young's talent level. Rather, it's just a very difficult situation for a quarterback to be in. Any quarterback to be in. I'm of the firm belief that if CJ Stroud was drafted by the Carolina Panthers, he wouldn't be experiencing the level of success that he currently has. If you just compare the two, the Carolina Panthers gutted out their best assets in order to get Bryce Young. They gave up the 9th overall pick, a 2nd round pick, a future number 1 overall pick, and a 2025 2nd round pick, in addition to what would have been Bryce Young's best weapon, DJ Moore. So pretty much in year 1, Bryce Young came to a team that didn't really have any weapons on offense and had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. He also had 2 different head coaches at the time, which resulted in a pretty pedestrian rookie season. Now, despite Bryce Young having a pedestrian rookie season, fans were saying that if the Panthers improved their offensive line and got him some weapons, then maybe we'll see him improve in his sophomore season. After all, he was making throws like this, for crying out loud. I mean, look, I don't think Bryce Young's situation is close to recent quarterback busts of the past. I don't think he looks as lost out there as Zach Wilson was. I don't think he looks the way Trey Lance does either. I feel like this is a quarterback that has the ability to make NFL caliber throws. He just got dealt a very tough hand in the beginning of last season. But going into his 2nd season, when the Panthers did make the necessary improvements, when they did trade Brian Burns for a 2nd round pick, when they did invest in their offensive line by bringing in Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, when they got Austin Corbett back, when they traded for Deontay Johnson, when they got a brand new head coach that was solely responsible for revitalizing the career of Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, one would assume that Bryce Young would have made that next jump. But unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. And when you take a look at the footage from the first 2 weeks of the season, it's very clear why he was benched. If you take a look at this play, Adam Thielen breaks open against the Chargers. He's wide open right over here, and Bryce Young stares him down, rolls to the left, and eventually gets sacked. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
Mike, Joey Bosa's good. Of course he's gonna get sacked.
But the Panthers have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You can tell Adam Thielen was just pissed off here. I mean, you have to make that throw. That would have been a huge gain, and as a result, it was very clear that Bryce Young was the reason why the Panthers weren't succeeding. Now, in our last video, I did reveal some crazy theories as to why this was happening to Bryce Young, including the fact that one fan even jokingly asked, WTF, did Bryce's girl leave him or something? And we talked about this in our last video. She in fact did leave Bryce Young for Tyrese Maxey, who happens to be way taller than him, by the way. I don't know if that's messing with the psyche, but that's just the thing. And I think just the combination of everything, just the fact that he had 3 different head coaches up until this point in his career, but what couldn't help his confidence either is the fact that not only did Bryce Young get benched for a 37-year-old Andy Dalton, but 37-year-old Andy Dalton absolutely balled out against the Las Vegas Raiders. In a game where I thought Gardner Minshew was going to pass all over the porous Carolina Panthers defense, Andy Dalton absolutely schooled his former head coach's defense. In his first game under center, Andy Dalton threw for over 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 68% completion percentage. And some of the throws that Andy Dalton made were absolutely insane. I mean, it's kind of crazy because you weren't seeing Andy Dalton make these throws when he had a prime AJ Green on his team. I mean, the man was absolutely electric, making risky throws that he typically wouldn't make when he was a Cincinnati Bengal even. I was kind of shocked to see this type of play from Andy Dalton. It's kind of funny because Dave Canales came in to save Bryce Young's career, but maybe Dave Canales is just meant to save veteran quarterbacks. It's kind of crazy to see this. I mean, just take a look at this throw. Once again, another huge chunk play to a player that is a part of the worst wide receiver core in the NFL, supposedly. And the touchdowns that he threw were just beautiful in this game, including this beautiful touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson, dropping it into the bucket when he was under pressure and in double coverage. And then, of course, probably Andy Dalton's signature play throughout this entire game was throwing it into double coverage once again to a 34-year-old Adam Thielen, which resulted in his 3rd touchdown pass of the game before the half. The fact that Andy Dalton was able to get 3 touchdowns in one half and Bryce Young wasn't able to get a single touchdown pass throughout the entire season went absolutely viral on social media. People were saying that this is the end of Bryce Young as we know it, but I hate to tell you guys this, I don't think this is the end of Bryce Young on the Carolina Panthers. As a matter of fact, I think the Carolina Panthers made the right move putting in Andy Dalton clearly, and I also think they did right by Bryce Young by doing this. Following this game, you saw Bryce Young and Andy Dalton chopping it up on the sideline, and Bryce Young doesn't seem that upset by this whole situation. Dave Canales and Bryce Young were also hugging following this game, and I don't think there's any animosity between these two, despite the fact that Bryce Young was benched. As a matter of fact, I think what's happening here is exactly what Alex Smith says.
We're going to get into it. There's a lot to say about this, but this organization, man, has really failed him.
Yes, they have.
I mean, 5 head coaches in 4 years, Greeny. I mean, he's had 3 head coaches in 18 games. I mean, who is he playing with out there? This has been hot garbage, to steal Rex's adjectives. They should have done this from day one last year and let him sit and learn and make sure that when he does play, that there's stability around him. Once they made the decision to play him, right, like this, and this is the Peyton Manning model, right, of the #1 pick. Let's play you through the dysfunction, right? Peyton Manning goes out and throws 28 interceptions his rookie year, one of the worst rookie seasons of all time, and still comes out of it to be the Hall of Fame quarterback that he is. He is an anomaly. Peyton is such a unique person. That is not the case most often. You can go out there and you can develop bad habits. You can lose your confidence, and it's shown up in Bryce's play. Like, I felt like I lived this. Again, so it's such a hard time watching it.
You see, not every quarterback is meant to start right away. Not every quarterback is Peyton Manning, where you could automatically start him, watch him play like garbage for a season, and hope that he could develop into a solid starter. Not every quarterback is Troy Aikman, who pretty much did the same exact thing. Patrick Mahomes sat for his entire rookie season before finally taking over the offense. And in the case of Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers clearly don't plan on trading him, and they have 3 more years with him on a rookie scale contract before they need to determine if they want to exercise his 5th year option. And in that particular case, it's very obvious what the plan is. Have a veteran quarterback play ahead of Bryce Young, work on the stuff that he needs to work on throughout the season. I expect Bryce Young to actually start later on this season. It could be down the line, or it could even potentially not be this season. It could possibly be next season. But I don't think it'll do him any good consistently putting him in these situations where he's clearly missing the right reads, which could completely shatter his confidence and ruin his career. I don't think this situation is as dramatic as a lot of people say, because at the end of the day, Andy Dalton is 36 years old. It's only a matter of time before Bryce Young gets another chance. If Bryce Young does go back in and looks like the next coming of Zach Wilson, then obviously it's a completely different story. But I don't think he is the next coming of Zach Wilson. There are times where he's looked like a competent QB, and he looked way more polished than Zach Wilson to begin with. So I'm assuming the Panthers' plan is to sit Bryce Young down, try to get him more adjusted into the offense, and maybe start him later on in the season. And if he is terrible then, and maybe if he's terrible by the end of next season, that's when I expect the Panthers to trade him for about a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick. Because currently you gave up so much to get this guy that you really don't have much of a choice but to hold on to him because his value is so low at this point. I mean, Zach Wilson, for instance, the number 2 pick in the 2021 NFL draft, was traded with a 7th round pick for a 6th round pick. Justin Fields was traded for a 6th round pick. That could become a 4th round pick based upon how much he's been playing so far. The Patriots traded Mac Jones for a 6th round pick. Josh Rosen was traded for a 2nd round pick, but that was after 1 season of starting. So let me know in the comment section down below what do you guys think about this Bryce Young update. Andy Dalton is set to start against the Bengals. Do you think this is the end of Bryce Young, or do you expect for him to come back and perform a little bit better later on? Or do you think he's going to find luck on a different team? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.